All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating and honestly kind of controversial dynamic. On one hand, you have society's deep-seated shame around the male gaze. But on the other hand, you have the undeniable, cold hard scientific reality that this reflex, well, it's actually an ancient, hardwired survival code. We're going to peel back the layers of a psychological truth that modern culture often sweeps under the rug. It's time to decode the hidden biological software driving human attraction. So, I want to pose this core question directly to you. Why is it that thousands of years of civilization, rigorous education, strict social etiquette, why can't all of that stop a reflex action driven by our subconscious DNA? Like, how does ancient biology possess the sheer power to just override our modern logic in an absolute split second? Well, that is exactly the mystery we're decoding today. To get to the bottom of this, we'll quickly map out our journey. We're going to look at the hunter's gaze and the amygdala, unpack estrogen as a fertility signal, and then look at what I like to call evolution's biggest trick. After that, we'll see how the digital world is literally robbing our attention. And finally, look at the ultimate showdown, biology versus the rational brain. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the hunter's gaze and the amygdala. Okay, to really grasp this concept of subliminal hijacking, we've actually got to travel way back to the primal jungle. You see, the brains of our ancestors were tuned to be these incredibly efficient visual scanners. Their main urgent evolutionary goals? Find food and reproduce. That's it. So when a specific visual pattern is detected today, our primal amygdala, the part of the brain that controls raw instinct, it completely bypasses the rational frontal cortex. Literally, for about 5 seconds, a guy loses his civilized, logical mind and basically becomes a pure biological sensor. He locks onto a reproductive signal before he's even consciously aware he's doing it. Think about it like this. Imagine you're doing super focused work on your laptop, right? And suddenly, bam! A massive, brightly colored pop-up ad takes over the dead center of your screen. You absolutely cannot help but look at it for a split second. Well, in evolutionary terms, these specific physical traits act exactly like nature's ultimate unblockable pop-up advertisement. And here's the kicker. You can't install an ad blocker for your DNA. Moving right along to Section 2, let's talk about estrogen and how it acts as the ultimate chemical signal. So this visual lock we just talked about, it's actually so much more than skin deep. What's really happening is the brain is reading a hidden, incredibly detailed hormonal report card. High estrogen directly correlates with optimal fertility, excellent health, and genetic symmetry. So when the subconscious mind locks onto, say, larger curves, it isn't just looking at aesthetic beauty. No, it is instantly identifying a high estrogen environment. And to our primitive DNA, that guarantees reproductive health and perfect physical symmetry. Here's a relatable way to think about it. You know that sheer rising anxiety you feel when your phone drops to like 1% battery? Just sheer panic, right? Now, imagine the instant wave of relief when you plug it in and see that 100% full charge icon pop up. Spotting these physical fertility markers instantly relaxes the primal male brain in the exact same way. It's basically a subconscious sigh of relief that a healthy, capable partner exists to carry on the genetic line. Which brings us to Section 3. Get ready, because this is where we uncover evolution's biggest trick, and it's an absolute master illusion. Prepare yourself for a pretty mind-bending historical shift. Back when our four-legged ancestors roamed the earth, reproductive signals were focused entirely on the rear end. Makes sense, right? But as we evolved into upright bipedal humans, standing on 2 legs suddenly hid all those original signals during normal face-to-face social interaction. So evolution was literally backed into a corner. It was forced to engineer a massive anatomical workaround just to keep the species going. And this is where we get the concept of frontal sexual mimicry. This is a groundbreaking theory proposed by the evolutionary biologist Desmond Morris. And it's absolutely astonishing when you think about it. To maintain that crucial physical attraction while early humans started socializing face-to-face, evolution literally performed a physiological copy-paste job. Seriously, it took the original primal signal from the rear and recreated a fat-based copy right on the front of the body. I love thinking about it with this metaphor. Evolution basically moved the advertising billboard from the back alley to the front main gate. Nature had to ensure that this absolutely vital biological advertisement wouldn't be missed once humans started walking upright and looking each other in the eye. I mean, it is arguably one of the greatest, most clever biological illusions in all of evolutionary history. All right, jumping into section 4, digital attention robbery, because the modern world knows exactly how this works. So let's leave the primal jungle for a second and look at how modern technology ruthlessly exploits this ancient biological loophole. In today's attention economy, major corporations and social media algorithms are constantly, relentlessly pressing this primal biological button just to capture your focus. Through strategic ad placements, algorithmic pushing, and, those classic social media thirst traps, they are actively hijacking your dopamine loop. They do this because they know for a fact that this visual code completely bypasses your logic. Ultimately, marketers are selling your primal instincts right back to you, not the actual product. Think about it. They place these highly specific, biologically charged visuals right next to sports cars, or energy drinks, or colognes. Why? Because they know the resulting dopamine kick will basically force their brand directly into your subconscious mind. Your ancient biology is quite literally being monetized, and it's happening entirely against your will. This naturally leads us to our final stop. Section 5. Biology versus the rational brain. The ultimate battle. Every single day, there is an ultimate battle taking place inside our heads. In the red corner, you've got the primal amygdala, our blind, reflex-driven instinct that just reacts without thinking. And in the blue corner, our prefrontal cortex, the modern, rational part of the brain. That's the part that grants us a conscience, the power of choice, and the actual capacity for deep emotional connection and respect. And remember, you carry both sets of hardware with you 24/7. So for the guys watching, the source material suggests a pretty powerful biological hack. Awareness is key. Just acknowledging that this initial visual attraction is literally a scientific reflex, that's what allows your rational brain to step in. Rather than being a slave to algorithmic loops, your prefrontal cortex can balance that primal biology with your actual conscience. It allows you to make the conscious choice to look past the biological pop-up ad and truly respect a woman's entire intellect, character, and personality. And for the women watching, this science offers an incredibly empowering perspective. Understanding this evolutionary mechanism actually helps strip away a lot of the societal stigma and the general weirdness around it. It completely reframes these physical traits as exactly what they are, just one tiny line of ancient evolutionary code. It is absolutely not your entire identity, and it definitely doesn't measure your worth. So, we're left with a choice. Will you remain a puppet to your ancient biology, just letting algorithms and marketers steal your focus whenever they want? Or will your rational brain finally take the remote control? I think it's time to leave the dopamine matrix behind and master our own biological hardware. Let me know what you think about the survival code down in the comments, and hey, keep that rational brain engaged.